Hi everybody, this is Shannon Estep. I am an Instructional Technology Coordinator and Lecturer at Northern Kentucky University. And today we are going to be talking about Gemini and how this chatbot works, what some of the features are to it, so that you can decide if Gemini is a good choice for you to use as you are playing around with and learning artificial intelligence for your classroom or for whatever your professional needs are. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, now before we jump too far into Gemini, I just want to make one note. Google's Gemini was trained differently than OpenAI's ChatGPT. So they have two totally separate databases and their process for being trained was different. So understand that while you are taking a look at these different chatbot options and how they will respond to your different prompts. So today we are looking at Gemini, and this is just one of many large language models that we could use. Okay, so let's get started into the specifics of Gemini. So the first thing you'll notice is we've got an area to prompt the Gemini chatbot for us. You can see that as a part of that prompt, we could actually voice the prompt by using this button, and we could also upload an image if we wanted that to be a part of our prompt. You'll also notice off to the left over here, you'll see any previous conversations you've had with Gemini, and you can come back to any of those. So they'll sit over here and waiting for you to come back to them or to look at them for reference. So let's go ahead and take a look at a very basic prompt and how Gemini works. So let's just ask it, tell me about kangaroos. Now, as we know, and this will be covered in another video, but prompting has its own science and its own way of thinking, and this is a really basic prompt. So for more details about prompting and how to help you to create good prompts, look forward to another video that will be coming. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit submit here, and we'll see what it comes back with. Okay, so we got quite a bit of information here, some key characteristics, habitat and diet, social behavior. So a few things to note after we've now gotten our response back is up here at the top, you can see that we actually have drafts. And if we show the drafts, you can see that we have multiple different variations of this that Gemini gave us. And you can click on them and see the different information that it gave us. You can see here that our key characteristics changed from draft 1 to 2 and changed to 3. So these are just 3 variations. You can choose any of them to grab information from. You'll also notice that we've got a listen. So we can actually hear this if we choose to do that. I'll go ahead and click this now.
Kangaroos, the bouncers of Australia. Kangaroos are iconic symbols of Australia, known for their powerful hopping.
Okay, and it would read the whole thing to us if we chose to use that. So let me come down here to the bottom. We can help out Google by telling them if this was a good response or a bad if we chose to. We can also modify our response and say, I'd really like this to be shorter, longer, simpler, more casual, or more professional, depending on what we're looking for. We could also have specified some of those things in our prompt if we had chosen to do that. I'm going to skip the share and export for just a second and come over here to where it says double check response. This is a great feature within Gemini, which will allow us to actually ask it to Google it and go out and see if these responses, how they are matching up against things it found inside of Google. So if we click on any of these, we can see where it found that particular statement. Green means that it is something that matches something on Google, and it's showing us exactly where it found it from. So the source is then cited, and you can click on any of these and dig in and ensure that the information really is on that site and that it is fact-checked. To understand a little bit better, we can click here and see that green means it was likely similar, a likely similar statement was found in their Google search, and this kind of peachy color tells us that it's likely different. So that's something you want to make note of and correct the information. So I really like that it goes through that next step of being able to cite itself if you ask it to Google it. Coming back over here to share and export, I want to show you that you can actually share this information or conversation with others. So if I click on this, I can choose to export this to docs, and then you can add to this or share it out to students if you want to, or whatever it is you were going to do with this. You can also take this information and make it a draft in Gmail. For these two, it will of course use whatever Google account you used to log on with. If we choose to share the conversation, we get a public link here that we can share out to others. Now, I want to make one note here. If I come back and ask it for a little bit more, like what if I said, can you show me images of kangaroos? See if it'll give us some information. Okay, it is. And it's also showing us where that information is coming from. And it's asking me now, would you like to see images of a specific species of kangaroo? Okay, we'll stop there for now. But what I want to show you now is, because there is multiple pieces of this conversation where we went back and forth a couple times, now when I choose to share, I have two options here. This is really important and unique to what I've seen, exclusive to Gemini. We can choose this prompt and response, meaning it will just do the latest one that we are on, or you can choose to share the entire chat. This can trip people up if they really want to share the entire chat with somebody, but they didn't click that button there. So this is something that has tripped up my students while they are citing their source and citing that they used AI, and they need to show me the entire conversation, but that is not chosen by default. So you need to choose that and then create your public link to then share out to others. When you click that create public link, you get it right there. You can copy it and you can paste it anywhere you want. So I will just say as a note here, if you are using this with students or you're using it yourself, I always think it's a good idea to go ahead and cite your AI use, and getting a link from Gemini is the way to do that if you're using this particular large language model. Okay, a couple of additional notes about Gemini. If you come down here to our prompt box and you type the @ symbol, you can see that there are several different, I'm going to call them plugins, that allow you to search specifically in that particular plugin. So let's say you wanted to just look for YouTube videos inside of the same search window. We might say @YouTube, let's see, background info on kangaroos. And let's see what it comes back with. It is what we just did right there is we asked it, in particular, can you check just YouTube for something that I'm looking for? And it did just look for YouTube there. So you can see, you can open that up, you can read it, or rather watch it, and that is maybe a part of the conversation you're having with Gemini as you're searching for information. Another thing to note under our @ area here is OpenStax. This is something that will give you more education-based information on things. If you're not familiar with OpenStax, this is a nonprofit educational technology initiative based at Rice University. And OpenStax offers free college textbooks of all types. And this allows you to get more education-specific content back if that's what you're looking for. So these are just two of the many different, again, I'm going to call them plugins, that you can ask Gemini to specifically connect to in order to fulfill your search. So a couple of other things to take note of. Over on the left, as I mentioned, this is saving your previous chats. We can see more here. If we wanted to go back a bit more, I want to just mention that inside the left-hand button here that says activity, if we click on activity, this will show us the last 18 months of chats that we have had. So if you want to scroll back a bit further, you can get to older chats within your activity space. So this is Gemini. This really does do a whole lot for us in terms of connecting to a large language model and allowing us to ask the chatbot questions and dig a little bit. Again, this is one of many large language models, but for today, this was Google's Gemini.